For my innovation project, I picked out three devices that are currently being developed. I picked out these three devices because I'm interested in the technology, and I believe that they will play a big role in the future in how things are done in the computer world and the world in general. These devices are the Vive, HoloLens, and Holographic Table. The Vibe is the device that is being created by HTC. It's a virtual reality headset. It uses projectors to create the environment around you and show you that through the headset itself. It's used mostly in gaming. Just like every device out there, the Vibe has its pros and cons. To start off with the pros, the biggest advantage I've found is that it is the cheapest virtual reality device out there. It is mainly used for gaming, so that will open up a huge opportunity for gaming companies to take their games and put them into virtual reality. So the device will create jobs in that field and also create a new gaming market. The cons are, like, the first one is the size. The device is kind of a big, bulky device, and it is pretty heavy. So it's okay for using short periods of time, but long periods of time, your neck will start getting sore. The next con is the usability. The device will build an environment around you, so you can't see what's around you. All you see is what is in front of you. Therefore, if you don't have a clear space, you're going to end up tripping over stuff. So that means you have to clear out the whole space and make sure you don't have any cats to step on. I can only see this device really being used in gaming, so I don't see it taking off and changing any of the other markets other than the gaming market. The next thing I want to go over is the Microsoft HoloLens. It's a holographic headset, meaning it uses light to display an image on a surface, and the surface is the glass that you're looking through. This gives you more of a augmented reality over a virtual reality. I've tried virtual reality and the HoloLens before, and I found the HoloLens to be a little bit easier to use, and you can see the items that are around so that you don't end up tripping on them and you know what's around you. Unlike the virtual reality, which just kind of builds you into a area and you can't see what's around you, so you just have to trust that there's nothing for you to step on. That being said, I can see the HoloLens being implemented in gaming and in the industry. The gaming side of things, because you can build an environment around you inside your house and be able to see what's there so you don't end up running into it. And in the industry, just because it gives you a ton of opportunities to display things and look at things that aren't really there. So like in a house, you can see where windows are going to end up, and you can see how things will affect that area. For the pros of the HoloLens, it is very usable. There's many applications that you can use, and it's not just for gaming. And it also is in its early stages. So this is a new product that's being put out there, and there's a lot that we as programmers can come up with and design new things for it to do. We can find different purposes for it, such as displaying what rooms are clean for housekeeping right on the wall outside of the room that the person needs to clean. So it being a new product, there's a lot of opportunities for new programmers or old programmers to get into the holographic field. For the cons of the HoloLens, I'd have to start off by mentioning the size. Just like the virtual reality devices, it's kind of a large and bulky device. However, I found that it fit a little more comfortably and felt a little lighter than the Vive. For another con, it's availability. This product isn't really the cheapest out there. For commercial use, you're looking at $5,000, and for educational use, you're looking at $3,000. And this will be changed. The price will come down most likely in time as this hardware and stuff becomes more common. And also, I didn't find it to have many like home uses at this time. Like it doesn't. I've tried it out at one of my friend's house. It doesn't really have too much for you to really do around a house. It's more out there for design and for people to come up with programs at this current time. I've already kind of discussed on how I see the HoloLens being used in the future and how it can change things that we do already. Two of the big fields that I kind of think it will have a effect on is the medical field and the design field. In the medical field, I can see it being used to help training and help pre-med people practice surgeries. Using the lens, you can build a holographic person and practice your surgeries on a holographic person without the risk of killing somebody. However, it also could be used to do consult calls. So if you have a patient in your office and you can't figure out what's wrong with them, you sometimes will have to consult with others, people in the medical field, to figure out what's wrong with this person. So instead of just describing the problems, you could actually build a holographic image of that person and show the doctor what is going on, show them where like rashes or something are, and that will give the other doctor or medical person a image of what's going on instead of just trying to build what you're saying in their head. In the design field, it could really help out a ton because you could, instead of building the models by hand and just drawing them up or carving them out of clay, you could just build a holographic model. And when you want to make changes, say the boss looks at it and says, hey, I don't like this, I want to change it, you don't have to go back and rebuild your model or redraw out the thing. You can just change it right there in the holograph. So this will help out a ton in design, as in fixing the efficiency of it, because you wouldn't have to remake your work, redo your work, because it would just be there. You just make the change on the holograph. So those are two of the fields that I can see it affecting pretty positively, and there's many more that it could potentially infect and change. The last thing I want to look at is the holographic table put out by Euclidean. It's a stationary table that is going to be displaying the holograph itself on the table instead of taking it and throwing it at the glass that you look through to display it around the area. This will be good for groups looking at the same product and really just open up the window for more holographic things. This started being created because the company was looking for a replacement for the heavy headsets, because they didn't see it being practical for companies to just be wearing these headsets that are huge. This table offers some things that other devices aren't going to offer. So in the pros, many people can use this device at the same time, allowing a group of people to group around and see the same holographic display. So if one person's looking at it from the front, it isn't going to display the front to that person. It's going to show the holograph facing the one person and the back facing the other person. It also eliminates the large headsets and just replaces them with the smaller, like sunglass type glasses. That's eliminating the problem with the weight and making it more feasible for people to be using for a long period of time. It's also a good marketing tool. So instead of bringing your models into the place that you're going to pitch your idea, you can just bring a holograph or a hologram and show the people that you're pitching the idea the hologram. So you can build cities with it, you can build houses with it, you can build cars with it, and it'll just be displayed right there on the table for the person to look at and rotate. For the cons, the biggest thing is going to be the cost. The cost, it's currently not out, and it's estimated to go for $47,000 when it comes out for one table. However, this kind of will equal out if you look at the teams, because if you have a team of 10 people, to get the HoloLens, that's going to come out to $50,000 for a team of 10 people to have the HoloLens. So it equals out in the end to buy the table. Another con is, well, it's not for sale yet. Luckily, it's hopefully going to come out in 2018, so that technology will be available then. And it's a stationary table is the other con. So if you're doing something in one room with this table, you can't go to another room and do it. You have to stay in that room to have access to the table. So that being said, if you're going to a job site, you can't really see what's going on the table for the design because you need the table. Unlike the lens, you can see what's going on at the job. I can only really see this product mostly used in like design and maybe in the like practice surgery type of aspect from the HoloLens. But the biggest problem and why I can only really see it being in design is because it's a stationary thing. So changes you make are going to be stuck in that one room. Like you can send it to another table, but you're not going to be able to see it where you're building it unless you have a table there. But then that also could be fixed by coming up with a way to take the table's information and send it to somebody's lenses or somebody's like holographic lens type thing, and have all the changes that you make be able to display at the job site. So if you're changing up furniture, they'll see that you put in like a new chair in this house. In time, I could also see this being used in educational and gaming. Educational, it's going to have to come down in price for schools to be able to afford it. But using it in education, you could display like dinosaurs or something for kids to see the dinosaurs and go over each species of dinosaur and display them in a holograph so that the kids can see it, walk around, and interact with it. I could also see it going into gaming once it gets onto a bigger scale. You could actually produce a whole holographic environment for the person that's playing the game or a group of people playing a game to walk through. So like laser tag, you could take it and replace that whole laser tag setup and build yourself a environment and change that environment for each game that you play. That way it's not the same environment time after time. So that's where I can see this device being used in the future. But the technology is going to have to advance a lot for it to get to that point. In conclusion, I'd like to just say that I find the HoloLens and the HoloTable to be the two devices that are going to have more of an effect on our future rather than the virtual reality. Also, if we find a way to use the HoloTable and the HoloLens together, I really think that's going to have a huge effect on how things are done in the future.